All right, Board of Trustees will reconvene our meeting, and we'll start off with our Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And to join me in a moment of silence, I want to recognize that September is Suicide Prevention Month. I know that many of our students have also experienced, or families have experienced, some tough times with suicide by death. So I want to keep everybody in our memory, as well as I know the past weekend we had 9/11. So let's keep all those who perished during 9/11, and especially our armed forces who actually sacrificed, our forces who sacrificed their lives. Please join me in a 1 minute of silence. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to our closed session report. Mr. O'Neill?
Thank you. 4.1, no reportable action taken regarding public employee performance evaluation superintendent. 4.2, the Board of Trustees unanimously approved the settlement agreement in OAH case number 2022040127, resolving all issues in students' due process complaint by amending students' IEP and providing assessment, compensatory education, and other reimbursement. 4.3, no reportable action taken regarding negotiations. 4.4, no reportable action taken regarding personnel. 4.5, the Board of Trustees unanimously voted to suspend without pay for 5 days employee HR-2022-23-02. And 4.6, the Board of Trustees took formal action with a 5-0 vote to approve the expulsion of student 21-30.
All right. Thank you, Mr. O'Neill. Now we move on to recognitions. I always love recognizing our donors to our district. Let's start out with our Advanced Healthcare Pharmacy. And do we have a representative? Probably not.
No?
Okay. All right, what about Dow Medical Group?
Yes.
They're here? Okay, let's have you up front. And let's have the board join us to take a picture as well.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to say a few words. I know, thank you very much for your donation to our Vietnamese Student Association at Oxford. And if any of you want to say a few words, please join us.
Dr. Dow is unable to be here today, but I'm Dr. Đoàn. I'm his medical director, so on behalf of him, thank you for recognizing our little contribution to the school. And Dr. Dow has been here since 2000, just one doctor, but now with his vision and he tried to provide the quality and also the patient center facility. So we have the AMD Medical Plaza and Dow Medical Group is in that plaza, and we employ about 100 employees, and we have about 30 doctors, primary care, internal medicine, and all the specialists. So the patient come and we have a different service, so it's very convenient. But on the philanthropy aspect of the Dow Medical Group, he been trying to donate as well as helping all the different non-profit organizations in school, provide a lot of school bag for, I think he donated about 10,000 school bag to a different school, Santa Ana and here in a different place. So on behalf of him, thank you for recognizing us. Thank you.
Absolutely, thank you. All right, I didn't mention Advanced Healthcare Pharmacy was the other organization which actually donated $3,000, again, also to Oxford Academy Vietnamese Student Association. So thank you to them as well. I wanted to thank Ricky Pham. I'm sure that you probably had a lot to do with all the donations, so thank you very much for reaching out on behalf of our district. Thank you. Let's give him a big round of applause. All right, so now we're going into our reports and student speakers. Do we have any? We don't have any student speakers tonight, so we'll go to our reports of associations, and that's 7.2. I'll start with Grant Schuster. Come on down.
Good evening, Board President Jabbar, trustees, cabinet, and everyone else joining us this evening. It's been a very active month for ASTA as an association, as well as individually for our members. We were all together for the ribbon cutting at Sycamore Junior High for our first facility dedicated to serving students, parents, and the community through our community schools model. It was an honor to have so many folks from around the state and local offices, along with our education partners there, to celebrate our progress and look forward to the opportunities that lie ahead. It is also deeply gratifying to see the power of a shared leadership model on display and the engagement that it encourages to those all involved. The Asta Paletas cart was also in action, bringing smiles on an incredibly hot afternoon. Additionally, the first meeting of ASTA's LGBTQ+ caucus took place this month. As we have all stressed the importance of inclusion and celebration of diversity among our students, we also want to call attention to the importance of the same goals among our teachers and staff. We will lift the voices of those traditionally unheard members and welcome everyone to our school sites and to our association. On that note, tonight, I want to stress the idea of lifting voices. Throughout the history of our own community, female voices, voices of people of color, folks from the LGBTQ+ community have often been ignored or dismissed. We have got to continue our efforts to lift these voices in our schools, at our district office, and in our employee associations. The idea of the shared leadership model that this board has endorsed is a generational opportunity to transform our public schools and the way we all see ourselves in them. When it comes to community schools and lifting voices, we made the unrealistic goal of getting survey input from 75% of our district families in a short period of time. The first attempt with questions out of the gate, and we're already closing in on a 60% response rate district-wide. We need to continue to push forward listening to students, teachers, and the community groups in the same way, getting input on that scale, at that level, from each one of those education partners. We need to make sure that people representing every community give input at this high rate, and through every voice, from every group being lifted and heard, we can achieve the profound transformation to our schools and to public education. Within ASTA, I would also like to call attention to the teacher input group and the special education input group. These bodies have lifted teacher voice and encouraged and engaged our members like never before. More than 100 ASTA members have been part of these groups since our first meeting in the summer of 2020. Through them, we have addressed many issues and concerns while building a structure that provides us a place to create solutions and better serve our students and teachers. We will continue to look for ways to develop leadership among our members inside and outside of the classroom. We will also look to develop student, parent, and community leaders in our public schools. We look forward to continuing that work with all of you on the board and in the cabinet. Thank you.
Thank you, Grant. Any other associations? We have CSCA? Nope. Okay. APGA? Come on up. Corey. And friends, okay.
Hello. Good evening, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Matsuda, Executive Cabinet, AUHSD students and families, guests, and those joining us online. My name is Corey Kretz, and I'm the proud APJ co-president along with Natalie Saldivar. Counseling sit on the three pillars of social emotional development, academic counseling, and college and career exploration. As the school year begins and the master schedule has been completed, counselors are ensuring that current and new students are being placed in appropriate classes. AUHSD enrolls many new students, and it's the counselor's role to welcome them, make sure they are in the correct courses, and that the staff is front-loaded to expect a new face. Counselors are also delivering social-emotional development through guidance lessons and introducing or reintroducing themselves to their students. Counselors have also been sending out needs assessment through their lessons and minute meetings, which collects students' interest in academic planning, such as A through G, or life skills like interview preparations or social-emotional development, such as how to cope with anxiety. Once counselors get this information, they plan out their guidance lessons and activities for the year. We are also very excited that counselors are preparing for and supporting the College and Career Fair, the largest one in the state of California. Today, you will hear from Brookhurst Junior High School and Savannah High School on how counselors are advancing the CPSF for 21st century skills. You hear about how counselors develop soft skills during guidance lessons. For technical skills, you will hear about how counselors are guiding students towards their chosen CTE pathways and or dual enrollment opportunities. And lastly, how youth, voice, and purpose is supported by allowing students to determine the guidance lesson topics, and also by the many surveys and assessments that counselors are collecting so that we know all our students' names, needs, and stories. First up is going to be Brookhurst Junior High.
Good evening, board members. My name is Alma Ortega. I'm one of the 7th grade school counselors at Brookhurst Junior High. Brookhurst counselors promoted their role during the 101 slide guidance instructions through all English classes in September of 2021. In this guidance lessons, counselors focus on building rapport with students. During this presentation, the counselors also collected data through a needs assessment. Our overarching objective is to emphasize the social-emotional development by highlighting a scenario by one of our students presented by Ms. Pittman. Okay.
Good evening. I'm Rosalinda Pineda, and I'm the 8th grade counselor and lead counselor at Brookhurst Junior High. And I'm just going to give you a brief presentation, an example of the reaction of one of our students amongst many. After our guidance lesson, once we introduced ourselves to the students, this particular student came into my office and just wanted more information about how to connect with the counselors, because in our guidance lesson, we talked about connecting with our students, just giving them resources, and also a process that we completed in terms of being more efficient in terms of connecting with us. We created a form that they would complete so that their emails wouldn't get lost with all the other emails, so that we can respond in a faster manner to them. So she came in and she said, well, I need a little bit more information and more detail about how to connect with counselors. And so I completed the form right there with her so that she would know how to do it. And then she thanked me and she was out the door. The next day, she actually completed the request to see counselor on her own and came in, chit-chatted with me, focused on building rapport with her. And the following day, we went through the needs assessment that our students completed during our guidance lesson. And we realized that she was on that list where she indicated that she had or needed more support in dealing with anxiety. So by this time, I had met with her a couple of times already, so she was used to me and comfortable with me. So I called her in and explored what was going on and more details about what she was dealing with in terms of her anxiety, and she stated that she had anxiety about death, and after exploring and making sure that there wasn't suicide ideation or anything like that, she just determined that it was just a general fear of death itself. And so I normalized some of those feelings and talked about some ways of dealing with her anxiety and a plan to deal with that. And I also talked about the resources in our school, our social workers that are there for students who need to, focus more and when a situation is more long-term, then that they would be available as well to support and other support systems. She, after that, walked out of my office, thanked me, and of course she continued coming back because that was part of our plan to support her. A few days later, she came in and asked me to see one of her friends because that friend was having difficulty. And I talked to her. I called in the student, and during lunch, she approached me and she's like, "Miss Pineda, did you already call my friend? How did it go?" And of course, because of confidentiality, I couldn't give her details, but I said, yes, we've taken care of her and she's getting the support. So that's just one example to demonstrate how important it is to build relationships with our students, because I feel that if we hadn't got into the classroom to provide that information, it would have been difficult for her to just come in. She wouldn't have known how to get a hold of us. Thank you, and I'm going to go ahead and introduce Ms. Preciado here, who will talk to you a little bit more about our data here.
Thank you, Ms. Pineda. I'm Ms. Preciado, Brenda Preciado, support counselor at Brookhurst. And because of our guidance lessons and the systems we put in place, we have noticed an increase in the number of students who complete a request to connect with the counselor. So I would like to read the testimonial of this particular student that Ms. Pineda was talking about. Counselors have helped me overcome my fear of death. Ms. Pineda has been there for me when I was going through hard times, and she's a trustworthy person. I always know where to find her, and she calls me out every time I need to talk to her. Parent testimonial, over the phone, Mom expressed she was very grateful for all the help that we have provided. Overall, we as the counseling team department, we work for students and not the other way around. We use the needs assessment and the time with students to make sure that we allow for students' voice and purpose. Thank you. Now here's Savannah.
Good evening, Board of Trustees. I'm Penny Hadjis from Savannah. I'm one of 5 there. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to speak to you tonight. I want to share with you a little bit about what's going on at Savannah. What I want you to know by the end of my few minutes speaking with you this evening is that your AUHSD school counselors on each of our sites are working with the whole student. The academic part of our students' lives, the personal social piece, and their future college and career plans. I want you to know that we work to guide our students academically through the use of the 6-year plan. But before a 6-year plan can actually be developed, we need to have educated our students on the different career pathway options, how a student can earn seal of biliteracy, for example, or what it takes to be an academic honor student at graduation. We communicate all of this by creating classroom lessons that we teach to our students so they can make informed decisions about their academic futures. I want you to know that when one of our students decides which college they're going to apply to, you can trust that the student has received an entire curriculum of support from their counselor. They've learned how to determine a reach, a match, and a safety school. They've learned how to match their interests to a college career and how to navigate the campus demographics, the advanced degrees they might have, and of course, the costs. All of this was taught to them by their school counselors. I want you to know that your school counselors work with students' social emotional needs on a daily basis. But before we can do that, we have to know our students' names and their stories. We spend time developing relationships with our students. We create safe, nurturing, respectful environments for them when they are with us. We protect them when we are called to do so, and we support them through the chaos, helping them navigate the process. We connect our students and families to resources. I want you to know that we're not simply creating their schedules and tracking their requirements. We are creating opportunities for each of our students through the work we do in the classroom, in our small groups, and individually. We also work for our students behind the scenes in meetings at our sites and at the district. We attend workshops, training, conferences, seminars, all to better equip our campuses with new and improved tools for our toolboxes. We actively respond to students' needs both through our daily work and commitment to the AUHSD pledge and, of course, the CPSF. Counselors aren't just looking at data, we're acting on data. We're not just tallying how many times we met with a student. Rather, we can show you how students are different because of the commitment and dedication of their school counselors. So honoring our CPSF framework, counselors have increased enrollment in our dual enrollment courses. We've increased our pathway completion, and now we are on our second cohort of embedded dual enrollment students for our patient care pathway. Super proud of that. Our first cohort had 26 students enrolled, and these students are currently juniors this year. But our current cohort of sophomores has a whopping 36 full class of students enrolled, and they're going strong. So that's really great. These cohorts of students will not only be meeting their requirements to take state licensing exams to become LVNs by the time they graduate, but they're also completing 5 transferable college courses, not credits, courses, to give them a jump start to college or university. And in addition to that, we have 24 seniors currently who have taken at least one dual enrollment course, and they must have done that during their junior year, right? If they're seniors now. So super proud of those numbers. Our pathway completion is increasing. Last year we had 67 students completing a career pathway. This year we have 234 slated to either they've already completed their pathway or they're on their way to completing their pathway. So that's also huge. We also have big plans this school year. We have 3 departmental goals that we've developed by reviewing last year's data, which we do every year. And we've reviewed the data on the California dashboard and data from ARIES web reports. And so our plan is by May 2023 to increase our college and career preparedness by an additional 5%, increase the number of students with disabilities enrolled in college dual enrollment courses, and increase redesignation of our LTALs by 20%. We are doing this through intentional, targeted interventions that we offer our students based on data. We identified students who were 1 class away from completing their career pathway and students who already started a pathway, but during the course selection process, they kind of deviated from that pathway for whatever reason. So we called them in individually, and what we did was we helped them with capstone completion planning so they could meet their pathway and get them back on track. We worked with our targeted group of LTALs who scored a 3 or better on the LPAC to teach them test-taking strategies, familiarize them with how the LPAC is scored, and we worked with the teachers to implement EL teaching strategies in the classroom. This targeted intervention model is modeled after findings we learned through the district's LEAD program partnered with Cal State Fullerton. For our students with disability goal, we're working with students and case carriers to encourage our students with disabilities to take a leap forward towards college coursework. So all of that is by the end of this year we're planning to target, and we're planning to exceed those goals for sure. We're taking social emotional learning to the next level at Savannah. We want to support our students' voice and agency so they know they have the power to influence change both inside and outside of the classroom through the lens of SEL. We conducted a student student needs assessment, and as we do every year. And the results, out of 1,700 students, 1,300 students responded. And the results are launching our small groups. And what we're doing is we're implementing anxiety and depression, identity and motivation. Those are our starting small groups. So we have also piloted, we're so excited, a 12-week series of SEL classroom lessons for our 9th grade class. That will happen in the classroom, 12 sessions. So 150 of our 9th graders will receive this piloted program on October 14th in our career finance and technology classes. And they're going to focus on a variety of different SEL topics. We've conducted our needs assessment, and we are implementing our first small groups, like I said. And we also work with NAMI. The counselors actually run NAMI group, the NAMI club. And with the students in our NAMI club, we've developed school-wide Wellness Wednesday campaigns that we've been working on now for almost 3 years. This is advertised to our parents, students, and staff bi-monthly. We have a whole year's worth of Wellness Wednesday curriculum that we send out. And we are also in year 2 of something very exciting, our Well Space, which our students have so aptly named our Rebel Relaxation Room, or the R&R for short. Yeah, it's kind of cute. So I would like to read a brief letter from a student regarding the R&R room. I just feel so overwhelmed because sometimes I just feel so overwhelmed sometimes, and I usually just push it down and tell myself, just try not to think about it. But that doesn't really work. There's class, assignments, projects, practice after school, my parents, and girl drama swirling around in my brain. So many expectations I've got to think about. So much pressure is put on me. Being A through G, getting a scholarship, going to a 4-year. I have to do well in school and sports so I can get a scholarship because that's what my mom would have wanted. Missing my mom and wishing she were still here. Wanting to scream, but I push that down too. When I'm home, I have to take care of my younger siblings and share a room. There's no privacy. I don't complain because I know my dad's doing the best he can for us. Today is the 2nd time I've used the R&R room since school started. It's also the anniversary of my mom's passing. She passed away 3 years ago. I was thinking a lot about my mom today, and it made me sad. I didn't want to get emotional in class, so I asked my teacher if I could go to the R&R during 2nd period. I don't have a place just for me at home or anywhere else, really. The R&R room is just for me. I talked with Mrs. H, and she listened to me. She offered me the help I needed, but really the best thing was that she listened. The room is calm, and it smells really nice. The lights aren't bright, and Mrs. H, that's me, has soft music playing in the background. There's lots of different things I can use in the room to focus, like kinetic sand and the Buddha board. Mostly, I like sitting in the beanbag chair and using the fidget stick and being able to talk to someone. Miss H rings the chimes when the time is up, and I know I have to start thinking about going back to class. I feel better after having taken a break in this room. I know it's here if I need it again, so I don't have to worry. I can go and focus on Mr. K's chem class now. So students come into the R&R. They receive permission from their teacher to be there. They have 15 minutes. That's timed, and they know they have just 15 minutes to spend before they're asked to go back to class. And that's the process there. What I ask the students when they come in is to check in and to check out. When they check in, I ask them if they want to talk to anyone while they're there. And I ask them how calm they felt before they got to the R&R and how calm they feel after. And then I also ask them how ready they are to learn when they came into the R&R and how ready they are to learn after. And on both, they are 50%, like more ready to learn and a much calmer when they leave. What it takes to have a well space on our campus is partnering with Chalk, having the space on campus, getting the funding from Chalk, which we were so fortunate to do thanks to Mr. Pooley and his work. Staffing, I'm the 5th counselor, I'm the programs counselor, and so I can be in that room along with my interns. And so we can staff that room, and it's open periods 1 through 6. And then, of course, like a plan of communication with staff and students so that they know how and when they can use the room. What our parents and our staff are saying about the room, they're saying we need an R&R for teachers. The Student Center is always bustling with activity. It's great to have a place where students can go that provides calm. I think the Savannah Relaxation Room has been great for students. As a mental health professional, I believe it's important to provide a safe place for students on campus to learn and practice healthy coping and relaxation skills for self-regulation. These are skills that students will take with them far beyond the high school years. I hope you will take away that counselors help our students navigate all aspects of their lives. Our students know who their school counselors are and feel supported by us. We guide them towards their futures. We help them get college, career, and life ready. I hope you have heard me tonight that counselors aren't just looking at data, but we're acting on it. We're not just tallying how many times we met with a student. We can show you how our students are different because of the work of their school counselors. We welcome you to visit our campuses and see for yourself. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. That was very insightful, and thank you for sharing those stories. We appreciate it. All right, so next I have, we have, go ahead, come on up. I was almost going to miss you.
Good evening, President Javar, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Matsuda, Executive Board, students, parents, and our school community who's joining us here and online. Sites have been really busy with back-to-school events. School sites have held back-to-school spirit assemblies, dances, pep rallies, senior bonding events, and numerous sporting events. In classrooms, teachers have been actively building community through instructional practices and through the implementation of routines such as capturing kids' heart, wellness, and restorative practices. Additionally, sites have begun their parent leadership academies and their Ready, Set, Go curriculum that empowers parents with knowledge about our systems and structures in place. Principals have had their first coffee with the principals and have shared information with parents regarding current and upcoming events. This year's sites are focusing on student voice and learning experiences and further developing their capstone project. Outside of the classroom, groups of students have also been participating in a variety of AIM opportunities that gives them hands-on experiences with specific careers. For example, I'm going to take some of the CVA students. Yes, they do participate in field trips, and yes, we do have a building. They just went to UCI, the urology department, and had the opportunity to practice some surgical nodding skills. They learned about endoscopic exercises, and they also had the experience with robotic suturing, and they also each individually had the opportunity to operate the Da Vinci surgical robot. So students came back from participating from that event and shared a sense of excitement and gratitude for these experiences. And in talking about careers and future planning, we're currently gearing up for our upcoming college and career fair on October 6th, where students will have the opportunity to further explore their passion, college, and career aspirations. District-wide, sites will be participating in a series of lessons and conducting a college and career week. Lastly, I want to share with you our collective effort for student wellness and focus to raise student awareness for well-being and belonging. The addition of community schools will definitely help with that. Our ambassadors are also working on some mindfulness along with student leaders from the sites and have participated in their first mindfulness training a week ago, and we'll continue to do that next week. Also, sites are conducting staff development and lunchtime activities for students to participate in and get resources and information on a variety of topics. As mentioned earlier, this is Suicide Prevention Month. We're also this year continuing the universal screening for high schools to continue support student needs. With that, I'll leave you. And if you did not know, today is Positive Thinking Day and also International Chocolate Day. So it's a good way to treat yourself. All right, thank you.
Well, since you reminded Hilda, I thought that you might have chocolate for us, but okay. All right. Well, thank you very much to ALTA President. Let's give it up to Hilda. All right, so I don't think we have any other association presidents. Seeing none, we'll go to Parent Teacher Student Association, PTSA report. I don't see anybody representing them either. Okay, so let's go to our presentation segment, which is 8.1. And this is the introduction of the 2022-23 student representative to the Board of Trustees. All right, so let's give a big round of applause to Omkar Khatre. Hopefully I got the last name right. I think we're going to have you come up and sit first, and then we'll have the next item go ahead and introduce the rest of the ambassadors. So, welcome again.
Come on up. Here's your seat, right here.
Let's give it a big round again. So, Omkar, do you want to say a few words? Yeah.
I'm truly grateful for the opportunity to represent my peers in the AUHSD family, and
Get it a little closer. Yeah.
should I repeat what I said? I'm truly grateful for the opportunity to represent my peers in the AUHSD family, and I think I speak for all the ambassadors and all the students at AUHSD when we say how grateful we are that the Board of Trustees, the President, and the Cabinet, and all of AUHSD's staff and faculty it puts such a large emphasis on student voice and truly integrates our opinions and our education and puts that at the top of their priority, and we're truly, truly grateful and thankful.
All right, thank you, Omkar. So just to, as way of background, the position of student representative to the Board of Trustees was created along with the Student Ambassador Program 20 years ago. The student representative to the Board of Trustees represents 30,000 students of AUHSD and reports on student activities throughout the district at all regular board meetings. So you have a big job ahead of you, Omkar. And the current, so they actually lead monthly leadership meetings with student ambassadors at the district site, and they create reports from student ambassador findings to present to the district leadership and to the Board of Trustees at regular board meetings. So we're looking forward to lengthy board reports from you, right? And then you're also supposed to bring Starbucks coffee for all the board members. I think you missed that memo. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. All right, well, thank you very much again. Well, we'll go to 8.2 and ask you to do the introduction of the 2022-23 student ambassadors.
So presenting the student ambassadors from our school sites, I was hoping they could each come up, say their name and their school site. So if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So before they come up, I'll give again a little bit of a background. One of the unique programs that AUHSD offers to senior students in our Student Ambassador Program, it was an initiative of former AUHSD Superintendent Dr. Jan Billings, and is fashioned after the Disneyland Resorts Ambassador Program. Each year, the program participants are fortunate to receive etiquette and business training. The role of AUHSD Student Ambassador Program is to represent the district's 30,000 students in the community, and they are the face of the district and represent AUHSD not only at community and district events, but also share student input on various district committees. And I know many of you do a lot of work already. I've seen you in action, so thank you for that. And then purpose of the Student Ambassador Program is to provide student voice from each of our 9 comprehensive high schools, as well as Hope School, Gilbert High School, and Cambridge Virtual Academy to the district leadership team and the Board of Trustees, which includes the following: student leadership training. They attend monthly meetings led by a student representative to the Board of Trustees, the creation of AUHSD Student Ambassador Handbook with a Code of Ethics, active participation on district and community committees, the creation of student focus groups such as Rising Student Voice and Participation, which is RSVP, led by the ambassadors at each of the school site, community service projects led by ambassadors, and being visible and approachable to students and staff on campus. So I'm going to start by introducing or asking Evelyn Alonso from Anaheim High School. Come up and introduce yourself.
Okay, hello? Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Evelyn Alonso, and I am Anaheim High School Student Ambassador. It's a pleasure to see all of you in this meeting.
Thank you. All right, Malia Balcom Fikri, Cambridge Virtual Academy.
Hi everyone, I'm Malia Balcom Fikre, and I'm the ambassador at Cambridge Virtual Academy. It's awesome being here.
Vinod Vairavaraja.
Hello everyone, my name is Vinod Vaivaraj, and I'm the student ambassador from Cypress High School, and it's a pleasure to work with all of you this year.
And Michael Flores with Gilbert High School.
Good morning, everyone. I'm proud to be representing Gilbert High School this year as a 2022-2023 Student Ambassador. Thank you all for your time, and I hope you have a great evening.
Awesome. And I got Adrian Barrios, Hope High School.
Hello, my name is Adrian Barrios. I'm a Hope School ambassador.
We got Roland Hernandez with Catella High School.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Roland Hernandez. I represent Catella High School as a student ambassador. It's an honor to be here tonight.
Monica Mikhail.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Monica Mikhail. I present Kennedy High School as student ambassador. It's a pleasure to see you all today.
Ari Cardenas with Laura High School.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ari Cardenas, and I'm Laura High School Student Ambassador. It's a pleasure to meet you all, and I look forward to working with all of you.
Hi, Muntadar Al-Jadid.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Muntadar Al-Jadid, or Monty, and I am the student ambassador at Magnolia High School, and I'm really excited to be working with you this upcoming school year. Thank you.
Joseph Reyes Olivas, Oxford Academy.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Joseph Reyes Olivas, and I am Oxford Academy Student Ambassador. I am looking forward to working with all of you this year.
All right. Jana Sadeh with Savannah High School, or Jenna.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jenna Sadeh, and I'm Savannah High School Student Ambassador, and I look forward to working with our staff and students this year to make some meaningful change. Thank you.
Brianna Dawson with Western High School.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Brianna Dawson, and I'm representing Western High School as a student ambassador. It's a pleasure to be here with you all tonight.
All right, well, thank you all for coming here today, and I know that you guys are going to be doing, you already worked with former ambassadors and how they've done, so I know you're going to raise the bar higher for the next incoming ambassadors as well. So, and I have seen, and board members have seen some of you in action already, so thank you very much for applying and taking a lead role at AUHSD. And we hope that you'll learn more and more leadership qualities and abilities and also represent AUHSD very well. So thank you.
And can I say something also? I would like to acknowledge Ron Hoshi, who has been their advisor and been working with them all summer. Great job.
Ron, yeah, stand up. I think we need to introduce you for taking the lead on this. So let's give a big round to Ron. And Jennifer Brown as well. Please stand up.
Amber.
And Amber Houston as well.
All right.
I'm not helping this year, but Hilda was, and so.
What?
Oh, Hilda.
Hilda, okay. Well, we just want to recognize all of you guys for doing a splendid job, being, supportive of each other as well.
Right,
So
and you
thank
ladies have been swapping back and forth, because I think Hilda worked with them before, and then Amber, and now back to Hilda. Very good. But Ron has been with us for the last several years. He retired a few years ago, but you'd never know it, because he continues to work with us and be a phenomenal advantage to our district. Thank you, Ron, and everyone. Thank you.
We'll put him in a semi-retirement mode. All right. All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And I know that tomorrow is a school day, so if you guys want to be excused, you are more than welcome to be excused. All right. So we're going to start off with.
But you can't.
Yeah. Now, Omkar, you're going to be here joining us. We're going to go ahead and start out with the next presentation, which is 8.3, Orange County Human Relations. Should I ask Robert to do the presentation introduction?
Yes, thank you, Board President Jabbar. It gives me great pleasure to bring up Dr. Adam Hernandez, our Director of Student Services, and on behalf of our district, I want to thank Dr. Hernandez and his team for the great work that they've been doing and will continue to do with our friends and colleagues at OCHR. Dr. Hernandez will now introduce our team and our colleagues from Orange County Human Relations. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Saldivar. Hello, good evening, Board of Trustees, President Jabbar, Superintendent Matsuda, and Executive Cabinet. It is a pleasure to introduce OCHR's Director of Youth and Education Programs, April Van Litten, and also Director of Operations, Dan Hahn. As AUHSD continues its partnership with OCHR, it is another example of how our district is out in front when it comes to implicit bias and restorative justice practices. OCHR exhibits care and compassion when working with our school sites. In the brief presentation today, you will see the connection with AUHSD's core values, specifically moving the needle towards equity and justice and cultivation of student voice and problem solving. So we do have a brief presentation. I do want to bring them up. Without further ado, this is April and Dawn. Please welcome.
Great. Well, thank you all so much for having us. We're really honored to be here and to share space with you all and to share a little bit about the work that we've been doing in AUHSD and are excited to continue doing. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started here. Is this the clicker? Yes? All right, there we go. Awesome, so you all have a copy of the PowerPoint, so you can follow along here or up here on the screen. So first and foremost, again, yes, I'm April Van Litten. I am the Director of Youth and Education Programs at OCHR. I just want to start us off by just naming some of the schools that we are currently serving. So we have two programs, the Bridges program and the Restorative Justice or the Restorative Schools program. And we are currently at these schools here, Anaheim High School, Cypress High School, Gilbert High School, Lexington, Loera, Magnolia, Savannah, South, Walker, and Western. We're at all those schools with the Bridges program. And then with the Restorative Schools program, we're at Ball, Brookhurst, Dale, Lexington, South, and Sycamore. And you can see here that a couple of those schools are highlighted because those are our new schools this year. We're really excited to bring them on. Gilbert coming on this year, having Bridges for the first time, and then South coming on under the direction of Yoli with RJ. So we're really, really excited about those folks joining us in partnership this year. I'm going to pass it on to Dawn to talk a little bit about Bridges, and then I'll join back in and talk about RJ.
Thank you, April. Good evening, President Jabbar, member of Board of Trustees, Superintendent Matsuda. My name is Don Hahn, Director of Operations at Orange County Human Relations. It's an honor for me to be here today because I'm sitting here in the audience and I'm reflecting on the years that I at least have the privilege to be a staff at OC Human Relations, which is about 2 decades ago. When I first came to serve at the agency, I was one of your human relations specialists at different schools, Savannah's being one of them. And I wanted to talk about hearing all the important stories or programs. The counselor was talking about how they are very focusing on student social emotional learning, their well-being, and how they are building connectedness to the community and the campus. Really reminded me how such a privilege we are as a human relation organization to have the partnership with your district for over at least the last 3 decades. For us, building a campus environment that is respectful for diversity, where all students, staff, people, parents, whoever have the engagement with the campus community feel safe and welcome and respected, is what we wanted to do. And you, as a district, welcome that and embrace that and support us to do our work that engage the student on your campuses. We're talking about a program that lift the student voices and make them feel that they are the part of this community. Over the years, when I've been a part of or have proudly served the program on your campus, I was at the Orange County Equity Summit last month, or maybe a month before last month. And this is about 300-400 people at Miles Square Park in Fountain Valley, gathering to talk about equity in Orange County. And as I gazed across the room, I spotted one of my former students that I worked with at Savannah. So I went and said hi to her. And mind you, she's about 30-something years old now. So that's kind of make me outdated, me a little bit older. And she said, Don, I'm so proud to be here. And I wanted to, it just happened by coincidence that the organization that she's working for had an open house that night. And she said, I want to invite you to our open house, and I want to invite you as the director of the programs. So she is not just giving back to the community, but the whole time, even while she was in college, she stayed engaged with Anaheim. And I think that speaks volume about how we make, or how Anaheim Union spend effort to make sure that every student that feel connected also coming back to give back to our community. So in our Bridges program last year, we have 141 student meeting, 6 human relations retreat, 26 school-wide project, and most importantly, 41 leadership consultation and relationship building. Our goal for this year is to get back to our root, what it means to be a program on your campus, what it means to empower our students, what's it mean to practice a relationship building skill, communication skill, and also, most importantly, what's it mean to ensure that staff, students, and campus community member feel that this is a program that could enhance the effort on each campus. So I'll turn that over to April.
Thank you. So that was a little bit about our Bridges program and what that's looked like on campus and kind of what our hopes are, our vision for the upcoming school year. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about our Restorative Schools program, or the Restorative Justice program that is at some of your sites. So you can see that. Here we have some pictures of some circles. These were both at Brookhurst during my time there as a Restorative Justice Specialist. So some circles there. Just generally, what are restorative practices? So for folks that may not know, they are tools that can be used to help build positive relationships and community. They can also be used to effectively navigate conflict and harm. So those are the 2 big pieces of our work, is that building community piece, and then the supporting with navigating conflict and harm. Okay? And this is just kind of a breakdown of what the work looks like on a campus. Okay, so again, community building, healing harms, and centering relationships is really the center or the core of the RJ work that we are hoping to do on a school campus, okay? And what that looks like is these little components here in the bullets. So training, consulting, modeling, mentoring and coaching, and then of course conflict support as well. So all of these are elements that our restorative justice specialists are doing on their school campuses. I have a quote here from a 9th grade student. She's actually, I think, now a 10th grade student, but she was a 9th grade student when she gave this to me at one of our school sites in AUHSD. And she said, restorative justice practices have had a positive impact on me because it helped me learn how to be more understanding and aware of other people's feelings. So just really a testament to a student that really struggled with conflict, really struggled in getting into maybe some physical altercations with other folks, and by the end of this school year really learned tools to navigate conflict more effectively, learned how to identify her feelings and ask for, what she needed to make things as right as possible. And so I heard the volume go up, so I hope I was heard before. Apologies on that. Okay, and then I want to share a little bit more about community building circles. So this is the other big aspect of a restorative schools program at a campus, is that community building circles are an intentional, structured way for us to be in community with one another. It's a process where everyone gets to be heard. We really try to do these for students and also for staff. Because when we're talking about building community, we're talking about building community for everybody on the school campus. Not just the students, but also for staff, also for parents, for caregivers. We want everyone to feel like they belong in the school community. And just a couple of data points here from our school sites from last year. Collectively, there were 148 consultations, 155 mentoring sessions, 134 modeling sessions, 283 relationship building sessions, 743 student development sessions, 92 presentations or outreach or trainings, and 490 cases were referred. So that just kind of gives you the scope of what the work looked like across the district last year. I also want to note that some of these numbers came from schools that joined us mid-year and have since started with us at the beginning of the year. So I'm anticipating these numbers to be even more this year, which I'm really, really excited about. So a little bit about our vision for this upcoming year. Our hopes are to continue training staff in our Tier 1 training, which is called Everyday RJ, and our Tier 2 and Tier 3 training called Navigating Conflict and Harm. So that's an intention we're setting for this year. Our hope is to train more folks, and actually Adam's going to talk about this in just a moment, so I'll bypass that for a moment about implicit bias in circles. Our other hope and our intention is to build staff capacity and overall sustainability of practices. We really want to make sure that we are embedding these practices so that way everyone on the school campus knows what they are, knows how to do them, and it's just part of the culture. And then lastly, systematize practices in schools that we've been in a relationship for a really long time. So beyond circles, how are we implementing this? How are we embedding it? And then just a couple of other notes before I pass it on to Adam. This is some other programming that we have, other youth and education programming that we offer to our partner sites. So we have our HRAP program, that's our Human Relations Ambassadors program. It's essentially a year-long internship for high school age students. They come to our agency, they get some knowledge building, they take action in their communities. So we are currently accepting applications, so if folks are interested, they want to go ahead and to get that experience, put that on their resume, please reach out to us and we'll make sure we get you that application. There's also the Youth Speak contest that we do. It's both an essay contest and a speech contest, and that usually comes with a cash prize as well. So our partner sites are, that is available to folks at those sites as well. Next we have is our Walk in My Shoes conference. So that was a big conference that we held for both junior high and high school every single year. It used to be high school in the fall, junior high in the spring, but because of COVID and everything, right, we had to put that on pause for a little bit. But we're really excited to bring that back this year, at least for the high schools. We're starting small. We're going to start at the high schools in the spring at Cal State Fullerton. So we're going to bring that back. Every partner site gets to bring about 30 students, and they get that conference workshop-like experience. So really, really powerful day for everybody. And then lastly, we have our Youth Leadership Institute. This happens every summer. It's a week-long, I guess if you want to call it like a summer camp programming. But again, the purpose to build those leadership skills among youth across Orange County. So it's a really awesome opportunity for youth to connect with other youth in Orange County and to build those connections as well. And with that, thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Adam.
Thank you, April. Just a couple other data points. So in 2020 and 2021 school year, we did have 100 administrators that participated in implicit bias training. So just an idea, there's about 75 site level administrators. So the partnership and the buy-in with district level personnel participating was so huge. So it's a collective effort. 150 staff members trained on implicit bias as well, so 10 from each school. And most importantly, RSVP students, 30 student leaders were trained on restorative circles. To continue that work moving forward, the implicit bias and restorative circles training, the focus is going to be on the high schools. So this year, each training will be a full day, 2 full day trainings. So 25 participants from each school, but it's a combination of 10 staff and 15 students. And what we're doing is we're trying to specifically and be targeted with student leaders on campuses. So principals are charged to select students that represent from RSVP, BSU, student ambassadors, ASB, athletes. So many different levels of student leaders on campuses so we can get a well-rounded representation to go to this important training. And each school will be going through 2 separate 6-hour trainings, so implicit bias and restorative circles. And that training is slated to happen over the course from October to February and maybe go into March. But that's a lot of important work ahead of us and a lot of planning and a lot of dedication to what we think is important to restore some culture on our campuses and push this ahead. So with that, I do want to thank again OCHR for the continued partnership with AUHSD, and that concludes the presentation. Here's a couple of fun pictures of the work that they've been doing, and if any questions you have for OCHR, now would be the time, and that's it.
All right, any questions?
Great presentation.
No.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys.
Great presentation, thank you very much. Appreciate the partnership.
I have a
Mr.
question.
Matsuda.
Dr. Hernandez. So is the plan to create a training of trainers? Are we building capacity at each of our sites to carry on?
That is ultimately the idea, is to have the impact of this training to go back and influence other student groups and also among our staff and our teachers so that we all can be equipped to take on some of the challenges that exist on our campuses.
So the other question I have, Don, you and I in Human Relations were at the recent anti-Semitism conference at UC Irvine, and some of the folks there spoke of the rising and growing influence of hate on social media. Is this a specific issue that you're targeting as well in terms of creating awareness and also advising us on how to address some of these real threats to our schools and our students?
Yes, sir. So definitely, we're the agency that actually contracted by the county to support the Orange County Human Relations Commission. And one of our key work that we do is hate crime prevention and response to the county. In our partnership with the district, that's one of the key components that we're focusing on is preventing and building the capacity to create a campus that even if when the crisis happen or incident that happen on campus, how do we properly respond to anti-Semitism or any type of hate incidents or hate crime on our campus?
So, I mean, is OCHRC sort of monitoring some of these social network groups in Orange County and giving our admin teams and our district sort of a list or awareness of some of this stuff? Because I think that it's happening right under our noses. Our students are being recruited into hate groups in Orange County and, of course, nationally. So I think we need to be, really take advantage of your resources as well and make sure that our people are aware that this is a growing problem.
Definitely. If we see any trend that's happening in Orange County, specifically any community, we'll definitely will alert the administrations or the law enforcement or even our partners to be aware that, hey, this is what's happening, the hate activities that's happening, or we may even see it coming to Orange County or to our community. Or sometimes the trending of things such as racial slurs being used on social medias or Even off-campus activity that happened, unfortunately, it had happened in Orange County quite often in the last few years. Fortunately, I could say that it didn't happen here in your district, but in the county, we have responded to different incidents that happened that actually even viral, even nationally viral. And when things are hitting the social media, unfortunately, not people in Orange County sees it, but people in the world get to see it and they get to respond. And that's when we come in and hopefully be an asset to the community in terms of responding to crisis.
All right, thank you, Don.
Thank you so
Appreciate the
much.
work, and thank you for the partnership. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. All right, next item on our agenda is public comments. I don't see any blue slips here.
No blue slips? Great.
We don't have any, okay, all right, perfect. Well, I think that's a first, that we didn't have public comments. All right, we'll go to items of business, resolutions, 10.1, resolution number 2022/23-B-01, recalculation of the 2021-2022 appropriations limit and establishing the 2022-2023 estimated appropriations limit calculations. And this is a roll call vote.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions? Seeing none, I will take the vote. Ms. Piercy?
Aye.
Ms. Randall Trejo?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. O'Neill?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Motion passes unanimously. 10.2, resolution number 2022-23-B-02, adjustments to income and expenditures general fund, resolution number 2022/23-B-03, adjustments to income and expenditure various funds, and 2021-2022 unaudited actual financial statements. This is also a roll call vote.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions? Seeing none. Ms. Piercy?
Aye.
Ms. Randall Trejo?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. O'Neill?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Motion passes unanimously. Got 10.3. It's a public hearing for statutory school fees pursuant to Education Code Section 17620, Level 1 fees. I open public hearing. Is there anyone who wishes to speak? Seeing none, I'll close public hearing. And we will move forward to 10.4, which is the resolution number 2022/23-F-03, increasing statutory school fees and notice of exemption.
So moved.
It's a roll call vote.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions? Seeing none. Ms. Piercy?
Aye.
Ms. Randall Trejo?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. O'Neill?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Motion carries unanimously. 10.5, resolution number 2022/23-F-04, approval of notice of exemption for Magnolia High School pool restoration and/or rehabilitation project. It's
So
a
moved.
roll call vote.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions? Seeing none. Ms. Piercy?
Aye.
Ms. Randall Trejo?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. O'Neill?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Motion passes unanimously. 10.6, public hearing, sufficiency of textbooks and instructional material. It's an information item. It's a public hearing. Open public hearing. Any questions or anybody want to speak? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and then move on to 10.7, resolution number 2022-23E02, textbooks and instructional materials compliance for 2022-23. Roll call vote.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions? Seeing none, Ms. Piercy?
Aye.
Ms. Randall Trejo?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. O'Neill?
Aye.
I vote aye. Motion passes unanimously. 10.8, resolution 2022/23-E-03, National Hispanic Heritage Month.
So moved.
It's a roll
Second.
call vote. We have a motion and a second. Any comments? Seeing none. This is a roll call vote as well. Ms. Piercy?
Aye.
Ms. Randall Trejo?
I vote aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. O'Neill?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Motion carries unanimously. 10.9, resolution number 2022/23-E-04, Attendance Awareness Month, roll call vote.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Seeing none.
Comments, very important. We have to really impress upon our students how important it is to attend. You miss a day of school, you miss what's happening, you may miss some very important information. It has been proven, steady attendance makes a difference, and lack of it, unfortunately, makes a difference. So, I know that I, for years, had a poster in my classroom about attendance, making a difference, and I think we got to make sure we put some more back in every classroom about being there. So, very
All right.
important.
Thank you, Ms. Piercy. This is a roll call vote. Ms. Piercy?
Aye.
Ms. Randall Trejo?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. O'Neill?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Motion carries unanimously. 10.10, Resolution Number 22-23-E-05, Red Ribbon Week. It's a roll call vote.
So moved.
I have a
Second.
motion and a second. Any comments? Seeing none. Ms. Piercy?
Aye.
Ms. Randall Trejo?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. O'Neill?
Aye.
I vote aye. Motion carries unanimously. 10.11, Resolution Number 2022-23-E-06, International Translation Day.
So moved.
Second.
It's a roll call vote. I am Ms. Piercy,
Aye.
Ms. Randall Trejo,
Aye.
Ms. Smith,
Aye.
Mr. O'Neill.
Aye.
I vote aye. Motion carries unanimously. 10.12, Resolution Number 2022/23-HR-01, Week of the School Administrator. Roll call
So
vote.
moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any comments?
This is a job, let me tell you. One I never wanted.
That's for
A lot of
sure.
work. Our administrators work hard. And, you know, there's only a few of them on each campus, and they have to deal with a lot. Luckily now, we have, at our high schools, an assistant principal per grade level. And that is important because we have a lot of students on our campus, and they have a lot of work to work with all those students, so. I give them kudos, and so we do deserve to give them their week and acknowledge it.
All right, we all give them kudos with this vote. All right, roll call vote. Ms. Piercy,
Aye.
Ms. Randall Trejo,
Aye.
Ms. O'Neill, Ms. Smith,
Mrs. O'Neill.
Aye.
Ms. Smith. Okay, Mr. O'Neill,
Aye.
and I vote aye. Motion carries unanimously. Business Services 10.3, Transportation Agreement with AUHSD Connect.
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions?
No, but it's we.
We connect. Oh, what did I say?
Oh,
It's
wait.
French for we,
Oh,
yes.
okay. All right. Well,
Oui, oui.
all right, we, okay. I have a motion and a second.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? You threw me off, okay.
I'm sorry.
You just extended the
Motion
meeting,
carries unanimously. All right. 10.14, Proposal, Monarch Environmental Companies, Inc.
So moved.
That's a
Second.
action item, yes. We have a motion and a second. Any questions?
No, but I'm glad to say yes on this because this is a tree care services. And trees are very important, and I'm a tree hugger
Oh,
from
that's
the
right. I
word
was going
go.
to say to give the data access to Ms. Piercy. I made a note here.
No, did you? Yeah. This is going to basically, catalog all of our trees and keep a log about their condition and making sure that they're healthy, and if they're not, a tree better be sick before I let you guys cut it. That's all I got to say, because we've got some of the most beautiful trees on our campuses. They are phenomenal. Some of them are, Orangeview has got this massive tree that is just unbelievably beautiful. Yeah, it does tear up the sidewalk around it. You got to give it at least 60, foot diameter around it. But it took nature 60 years to grow that thing, and it's gorgeous. So we need to take care of our trees.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you. I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Educational Services, 10.15, Revised Board Policy 7903.11, 6153, Student Trips and Off-Campus Activities. Repeal Board Policy 7903.13, field trips and excursions, non-school sponsored educational tours, first reading, information item only. Any questions? Seeing none, I will move to 10.16, agreement with UCLA Campus Life Community Programs Office, and it's an action item.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. 10.17, Membership Accrediting Commission for Schools, Western Association of Schools and Colleges, our WASC Committee, action
Moved.
item.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, 10.18, Agreement, Education and Innovation Research Grant with Orange County Department of Education, action item.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions? Seeing none, I have a question. And I know the question was asked and you guys answered it, but for the public's, for public purposes, what is the plan in terms of how are we planning on reaching out? Do I ask you the question since Jaren's not here?
Yes.
I can, but you might defer it, okay. I know it's talking about tracking the data and making sure that we do some kind of a plan, but just for our parents to know and the public to know, what is our plan to attract students? Because we have a lot of programs, right? So I want to make sure that we have some kind of a plan which goes out there to attract students for the program.
So we have, I know, Amy Kwan, you're overseeing the EIR grant, which is at a couple of our sites. I'm not sure if you want to come and speak a little more to it. But in terms of the question, just to clarify, it's how are we attracting students? How are we
Right.
collecting the data to attract students to be a part of this grant?
Right, so we have Anaheim, Cypress, and Loera, right? And we want to attract more female students. So my question is, do we have a set plan, or are we still formulating the plan, or what is our goal for the grant?
It's part of the grant's objective that we create ecosystems that are inclusive and diverse around computer science. So it's the recognition that the way computer science is typically taught and the profiles of students that are recruited to go into computer science isn't always as inclusive. Now that technology and computer science and programming is embedded in almost every industry, teaching computer science from multiple perspectives, creating that type of culture would attract more students. So the grant is taking computer science adjacent courses like math and science, targeting those teachers, training them in computational thinking in math and science, so students are being exposed to a more diverse way of thinking about computer science, and then seeing, by doing that, are we attracting more typically underrepresented populations into computer science?
Okay. So I'm assuming after we do this, maybe 6 months to a year, you could come back and let us know what we have done in terms of attracting more students, right?
So the grant's actually going to track the class of 2026. We're going to work with math and science teachers for the next 3 years and see at the end of 3 years, did we get more students who signed up to take computer science?
So I get that it's end of 3 years, but I'm kind of wondering if we could get that at least to the board. I'm not going to be here, but at least to the board in terms of figuring out maybe in a year, is it working so that way we could kind of modify what we are doing in order to attract more students, right?
We can definitely embed into the professional learning with the math teachers surveys to see if after this unit, are you more interested in this field or going a little bit further? And then maybe we can work even with our counselors to say, if you are, then here are the pathways that you might be able to pursue at your own school site.
Okay, thank you. All right.
Make the presentation at City Council, Mr.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll be there and
That's
take
a
that
joke.
in.
That's a joke, everybody.
All right, well, thank you. If there's no other questions, we'll take all in favor?
Aye.
No opposition, motion carries unanimously. 10.19, contracts, independent speech and language assessment. Susan Holler, action item.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. 10.20, contract, independent psychoeducational assessment. Dr. Betty B. Bostani.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. 10.21, contract independent occupational therapy assessment, Richard Furbish, R. Furbish, Inc.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. 10.22, school-sponsored student organization, action item, and Omkar, you get to vote on this as well.
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we got our, I wanted to make sure that you said aye, Omkar. All right. And any opposed? None. Motion carries unanimously. Let's give a round of applause. Omkar's first vote. Aye. All right, Human Resources, 10.23, public hearing, disclosure of collective bargaining agreement with AFSCME. It's information item. 10.24, adoption of 2021-22 collective bargaining
Mr.
agreement
Jabbar,
with,
if you could open the public hearing and close.
my bad.
We
Oh, that's a
skipped
public hearing, right?
September.
Yeah. 10.23, it's open the public hearing for disclosure of collective bargaining agreement with AFSCME. Anybody want to say anything? Seeing none, I close public hearing. We'll go to 10.24, adoption of 21-22 collective bargaining agreement. This is with AFSCME. This is an action item.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions?
Third, yeah, no.
We got first, second, and third, and
Third,
fourth,
yeah.
and a fifth.
Could
All
be a
right.
fourth, yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right, 10.25, initial contract proposal, AUHSD to Anaheim Secondary Teachers Association. This is a public hearing too, right?
No?
The next one is.
The next one is, okay.
Next one.
That's the information item. And 10.26, public hearing, initial contract proposal, AUHSD to Anaheim Secondary Teachers Association. I open public hearing. Do we have any speakers? Seeing none, I close public hearing. We'll move to 10.27, initial contract proposal, Anaheim Secondary Teachers Association to AUHSD, and this is an information item. Then we move on to 10.28, public hearing. I'm going to open the public hearing for the initial contract proposal, Anaheim Secondary Teachers Association to AUHSD. Anyone here to speak? Seeing none, I close public hearing. Move to 10.29, revised board policy 6201, 6201-R, equal opportunity employment, first reading. And this is also a informational item. Any comments? Seeing none, I will move to 11, which is our consent calendar. Any items to be pulled?
11.15K, 11.16M, which is, I guess, 11.16.
All right, can I entertain a motion for the rest?
So moved, balance.
Second.
I have a motion for the balance, and I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. I will take a motion for both of them together, Mr. O'Neill.
Yes.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for 11.15K and 11.16M. I have a second, and any questions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Abstentions?
Aye.
And any opposed? Seeing none, it's a 4-0-1. All right. And we go to all right, we'll go to our student superintendent and staff report.
No report?
Mr. O'Neill?
I just want to thank Karen Org and Joe Kimona for closing the books. You guys did an amazing job, so I want to thank you and your staff for your great work. Thank you.
All right. Carl? Saldivar?
No report.
No report. All right. And I will start off with Ms. Piercy.
Okay, I'm prepared this time. Usually I have to oh, I'm first. I don't like that. Okay, it's been a busy month for me since the last board, seeing that school opened, and it's a busy time of the year for, when school opens. I attended a number of coffees with the principal, which I found thoroughly enjoyable and informative. I've decided that that's, to me, is really a good point of finding out what's going on at the schools. I attended the coffee at Dale Junior High, Cypress High School, Magnolia High School, and Kennedy. And you really kind of find out more of the identity of the individual school at the beginning of the year and what that principal is kind of going over, because they kind of go over the majority of an overview of what's going to happen. And since we had several, well, these are all new principals basically, except for Magnolia, at the beginning of the year, so it was a new thing for them, and I really, really thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm waiting for some more, so I want to go to some other coffees. Then I went to the back-to-school nights, okay, and I was able to get to Western and Walker and Lexington and Oxford and Orangeview and Cypress. Despite the heat, because it was miserably hot, let me tell you, at some of these, but, and I have to congratulate all the schools for coming out in this we've had an seemingly hot season this year, and they've still come out and done their back to schools. Not very comfortable, but they did it. Okay. Then I also sat in on a CSBA webinar in the afternoon. That was fairly interesting. Sister City Commission, I went to their meeting. And the Sister City is working on some new city application forms, because we have some cities that are interested in being a sister city with Anaheim, but they have to be vetted because there's got to be something common between us. And so we have some old ones that we've kind of lost touch with. We're trying to get back with, and like Victoria Gasteiz in Spain was one of ours, and we have to we'd lost connections with them, and we need to get back. But we've got some other cities that want to be sister cities, and so we're looking at that. And we are going to be having a fundraiser next month at, I can't remember the hotel, but
Anaheim Hotel.
Anaheim Hotel, yeah, and open to everyone to come. Come and have some refreshments, and we'll have a silent auction, and you'll get to know a little bit more about the sister city and meet the people that are on that committee. Hope School. Oh, this was phenomenal. I went to the Hope School school distribution and pizza party. Nitesh Patel. Okay, I keep getting his name wrong. He's a father of one of our Oxford students who happens to be a buddy with the Hope School. And he thought this was such a great thing. He got together, he raised a bunch of money and bought shoes for every single Hope student and a backpack with school supplies, and then gave them a big pizza party. Well, it took two of the teachers, and I didn't catch their names to write them down to remember, but these two teachers spent the good part of the summer getting the information, calling up the students' homes, finding out what size shoe they wore, what maybe their favorite color was or whatever, and then getting it all organized so that, they went out and bought the shoes. And unfortunately, they didn't get any big deal from any of these, companies, which I thought was kind of sad. But anyway, they did the best they could. They had Vans, they had Adidas, they had all kinds of them. And, but it was phenomenal. And then we had the Buddies group, and then, what was the other group?
It was the...
Friends of Hope?
Is it Friends of Hope? It's another group. I can't think of the name of it, but we had two different groups, the Best Buddies and another group.
Kicks for Kids.
Huh?
It was Each One Teach One.
Each One Teach One,
Yeah,
that was
Kicks
it,
for
yeah.
Kids.
And they came and they helped out, and they organized them all, and then each one of the kids would go find that student and give him his backpack or her shoes, and then if they needed help them put them on, if they wanted to put them on. It was great. And then they had a ton of pizza. I don't think they ever ate it all. I think they
I don't know,
probably
could've-
had to send it home.
They had
with
like
them.
150 pizzas.
Yeah, it was But it was just, I mean, and I just, this gentleman did this, and he just thought it was a great thing, and he's done other things like this, I understand, but it was just phenomenal that he went to all this and got others to, to chip in the money, and it was phenomenal. Then I went to the Sycamore Community School ribbon cutting, and that was really a good deal, too. That was very well set up. It was warm, but they set up everything really well, and Tony Thurman, our school state superintendent of education, was there with his assistant, and that was all very, I mean, this is new. I mean, we're the first school district to put in a full-size community school like that and have this, 13 of them are going to be in our district. So that was quite a big deal. And I'm glad I made it, okay? And I enjoyed talking, afterward we got to go to the library, and Tony was in there talking with us. So we got an opportunity to really, exchange with him and talk, and that was really good. And then the last thing I did was the Oxford Senior Pancake Breakfast. The seniors at Oxford showed up at like 4:30 in the morning to celebrate a senior morning. Well, I'm part of the Kiwanis in Cyprus, and we do pancake breakfasts. So I was there at 6:30 in the morning, serving them pancakes. And they also put together fruit. And I have to say this because they had, I guess the PTA or maybe just the seniors group, they also added some fruit to go with the pancakes. Because the Kiwanis will give them pancakes and sausage, and that's it. But and orange juice and coffee if they wanted. But they had a big tray of bananas, strawberries, blueberries, and then they had a big bowl of chocolate chips, and then 3 or 4 cans of whipped cream. And so the only thing I have to tell them is next year, don't let the boys go through first, okay? They take these, pancake things, and then they'd put all this fruit on it. And before you know it, they had this mound on top of the pancakes. And then they put whipped cream on it. And then this one, I had to stop him. He's taking it. I said, He said, well, I'm not touching it. No. So I just think, and by the time the girls came through, there was no fruit left, so let the girls go through first and then the boys maybe, but anyway, it was cute and they had a really good time, so it was fun. That's all. That was my last thing.
What's the guarantee that the girls would not do the same thing?
No, when you look at, I'm looking at these guys that are taller than me, okay, that are coming through the line first. And I'm sorry, boys eat more than girls, It's a proven fact. I mean, my grandsons will eat my granddaughters under the table. I mean, they just, come on, boys eat more.
All right. Ms. Randall Trejo.
All right, wow, that's fun. I mean, that's the only way to
come on.
to eat whipped cream is like that. All right, I have a very, very short report. Been down to one car, and my daughter has a job in LA, so I wasn't able to get to a lot of the events, but I really commend all the schools because they they kept going no matter what, through rain or heat or snow, they're there, and it's been pretty hot, so I commend all of you for attending and everyone for putting it on, and I'm looking through the the Facebooks and all the postings and seeing all the smiles and the happy parents because everyone wants to celebrate being open and all the work that's going on. So I'm watching and I just really want to commend all of the administrators, teachers, students for putting on the wonderful back-to-school nights. I was able to attend the Sycamore ribbon cutting, and as my colleague said, that it was really special that we really had an audience with Tony Thurman. And it wasn't so much for us, it was more for the other school sites who are going to get their community schools. So they were probing and asking a lot of questions, and a lot of it was, how are we going to sustain the funding? So really important questions that our legislators have to really go back and solve, because, you know, this is just a great opportunity to serve our community. And I'm just so proud that we had the you know, the forethought and we're working on it and grabbed those grants when they first came out. So I commend the committee, and I commend everyone for putting on that wonderful event. And I see Maritza Bermudez, one of the speakers in our audience, and just, it was just really a celebratory event, and it was perfect because that was the back to school night for Sycamore too. So a lot of fun that evening. I also attended a foundation meeting. Boy, we haven't had one for a long time, so it was nice to get together and talk about some strategies to continue that committee. And I had an opportunity to be invited to a community meeting held at Ponderosa, the community center there. Mariana, who is the leader of the Madres en Acción, invited really our school district to come. There representatives from South and Catella, and also our director of transportation and manager of transportation. So we had our faces there, we had principals there, we had counselors there speaking to that group there, and the folks were asking really wonderful questions. But the highlight were the folks who help us out every day with our students at the buses, and the ones that take care of our students before the bus comes in the morning, and then in the afternoon. And we had an opportunity to thank those folks that volunteer for us every day. And they really had some great probing questions, and our team was, you know, right there to answer. And the great statistic that I was left with was, you know, that area, you know, about 4 or 5 years ago was really kind of a harsher area, and that's why, you know, the parents came to stay in the morning with our students. But it was really interesting to hear today a lot of that behavior and a lot of that myth or those actions that created that reputation is gone. The area is nice, and there are no events to report as of today. And so it was really great to hear that our bus drivers are you know, involved in part of what we do as a district to really create safe places for our students. And so it was a really great opportunity to attend that meeting, and I commend again, you know, everyone in our district for really doing their job to the best of their ability, because you never know, you know, the contributions that you're making every day for our students. So I'm so lucky to be, you know, hearing that firsthand from our parents, you know, really giving their testimonials about how much they appreciate what we're doing as a district. So thank you. That's my report.
All right, thank you, Ms. Smith.
Okay. Well, this heat wave is not for me. I've had heat stroke twice in my life, and so I did not attend any of the events that you did because of my reality that I faced. So I'd like to share some information. Today in the Orange County Register, there's an article about Anaheim. City makes progress on stagnant projects. And Beach Boulevard from Ball to Lincoln has been a filthy, criminal mess for decades. And it affects our families whose children go to our schools. It affects the hospital down there, and it affects our schools. And I was so elated because it looks like maybe you're going to be on the city council, I hope, that this will become a reality for the future, because it is not acceptable for this community. And it's beyond tragic that it was ever allowed to occur. But anywho, the article, I thought, gave a lot of bits of information of how the city plans to go about this, buying motels that are rented out to homeless people and criminals. So, I don't assume that everybody knows what everybody else knows. Is there anybody in the room that does not know that Queen Elizabeth passed away last Thursday? Everybody knows that. Okay.
Unless they were under a rock.
Pardon?
I'm sure they probably know.
Who?
I mean, everybody probably knows. Yeah.
Well, I don't assume that, because I spoke to someone the other day and they didn't know. So, and I thought this person, it was interesting, they did not know. Her death last Thursday was historic. She reigned for 70 years. No other person in royalty has ever ruled that long. And why am I bringing this up to you? Because Anaheim Union High School District has a connection with the Queen, a personal connection. We have a student that graduated from Loera High School decades and decades ago, and she went to London, and she rose to be the executive director of the Westminster Abbey Foundation, and she's been there for decades. So a number of years ago, my husband and I, when we were in London, went to see her. She's a former neighbor, and I've known her family forever. And she gave us a tour of Westminster Abbey. Does everybody know that the Queen's funeral is going to be at Westminster Abbey? Because she's gone from Scotland to Ireland and to London and different places. So that's going to be her final ceremony. So Valerie took us up a very old, winding staircase made of wood, hundreds of years old, not very wide, maybe this wide. And we went up this staircase to the triforium, which is like it would be the attic. And we get up there, and I look out, and there's this area with some items, artifacts, just placed, kind of dusty. I see some cobwebs. And it was evident to me that this has not been used. And Valerie said to me, "See this stool? This is the stool that Queen Victoria kneeled on when she was coronated. And here it is up in the triforium." It's just so incongruous. And so we chatted, and she pointed out some other items, and we went back down. And I said, has the Queen ever been up there? I can't imagine at her age that she'd even be able to walk that. And she said, the plan is that we're going to transform it into a museum and put an elevator in. So guess what? Valerie and the dean, who is going to be performing the funeral for the Queen's funeral, took Queen Elizabeth up in the elevator to the triforium, and it is now a museum. And so it's life. She is a wonderful representative of a human being that graduated from this school district. And many times when we have people that, friends of ours or family that are going to London, I always ask her if she would kindly give them a tour. And if ever you're in London, I recommend that you go and ask for Valerie and tell her who you are and where you come from. And I think it'll just be an additive memory for your life to experience it. So I share that with you. It gives me great joy. But she has known the Queen for decades, and I can tell you that when they have big events there like marriages and funerals, I always see on television, if you watch the BBC, if you see the rear end as the people walk in, and then the last pew, Valerie is always standing there. So a little bit of Anaheim High School is with us all in our hearts this next week during that funeral, and gratitude and thanks to people that are good human beings that do a good job. And I want to speak to the people that work in this school district that I have had the joy of knowing for the many years that I've been here, the 14 years that I served on the ROP board. It has been a joy for me to know good people. That's my report.
All right, thank you, Kathy, for that. Mr. O'Neill?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Jabbar. I attended the Young Congressional Leaders Program at Magnolia High School, and it was conducted by Congressman Lou Correa. He was there to promote a 9-Saturday course for skills and professional development for students. So he was recruiting from high schools in his congressional district, and I was fortunate to be able to go and meet him at Magnolia High School, and then afterwards we went out to the MAG, which he was very impressed with, and they gave him a box of veggies from the patch, and he was very pleased to get that. I attended 14 back-to-school nights so far. Unfortunately, I missed the 3 on, well, I guess it was Tuesday night. I wasn't able to attend. But at one of them, which was the Dale Junior High School back-to-school night, they had, at the Vietnamese dual language table, they had these brochures in English and Vietnamese translated. So I thought this was very, very informative. And I didn't ask them, do you know, did they do this, or did the district from the office here, and we have, you can answer the question, do we have these at all the schools that have dual languages?
Yes, we have brochures for every program.
Great. We should have brochures like this for every program that we have, not just in language, but all of our pathways. We should have informational pamphlets that we can hand out and give to people if we don't already have them. I've been a proponent of this for some time. So this is excellent done. So thank you for that. Certainly. I attended a principals meeting, which was held here in the La Palma room. Very educational, enjoyed it, walking around listening to the various tables and how they were conducting themselves. And then last I attended the Hopes school with the backpack and shoe handout, and it was very well done. The students were very interactive with the Oxford, or excuse me, with the Hope School students, the Oxford students were, and they have done this before. Patels have also been very giving. Used to be with Salvation Army in downtown LA, and I've been there many times with him and helped him out, and along with other people in supporting the community, but he decided to bring the community closer to home. He says, you know, we have needs here. So he has funneled from that area now to to Hope School, and Oxford Academy, where his daughter's gone or is going, has been supportive of that effort. So he says he'll be back next year to do that again. And it's not fully funded, so it comes out of his pocket. And I think we need to recognize him and the group from Oxford Academy for all they have done for the district and will continue to
And
do.
his friends, but also not just Oxford, each one help one,
Each one, teach one.
teach one, teach
It's a
one.
f-
It's not just Oxford.
No, it's a
No, they're
501c.
all our high schools, in
It's a
other words.
501c3 nonprofit
Right.
entity.
Okay,
Yeah.
so, and it's our students from our other high schools too. Because I know that, there were a couple from Cypress High School, I know, and then, so I don't know what other
Yeah.
high schools they were.
That's it.
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. O'Neill. And my report, I forgot the little piece of paper that I jotted down the teacher's name. I was at Brookers Junior High School for back-to-school night, and I went into one of the classrooms, and he was a substitute teacher, long-term substitute, but he captured the attention of not only me, because I was just like passing by and I heard him and I wanted to listen to him. Went into his classroom as an English teacher, and the parents loved him. I loved him, and I wrote down his name, and I came back out and I spoke to the principal, and I told him, if you ever have an opportunity, we got to hire him, because he's the type of teacher that you need in a classroom or in a school. And I know he engages our students really well as well at Brookers Junior High. English, yeah. So I'll pass this name on to you just so that we know what type of a teacher he is. And I also attended the Western High School back-to-school night. I attended a St. Anthony's Claret Mariachi Festival, which many of our AUHSD students and families participated. And then, of course, the community, or Anaheim High School back-to-school night. It was awesome to see a lot of our families attend that, even though it was hot. And a community school night, community school ribbon cutting. Carlos, got to give it to you. Great event, and your team. Congratulations for not only putting that together, but I really admired your passion for not only the project, but you passionately spoke and eloquently really gave us what community schools are. So that was the talk of the town. So thank you for your leadership on that. And I also want to thank Araceli and her team there. I think they went through a lot of logistics and put on a awesome event. We are all proud of it. So thank you, and please pass it on to the team over there as well. I did attend the Anaheim High School football game with Rancho, which we unfortunately lost, but I know that they're all gearing up for their homecoming coming up. I also attended a 3-day cricket tournament in Tustin, and I say this, I wouldn't report this out, but I'm reporting it out only because we had many of our AUHSD students participate. Cricket is a up-and-coming game. And I know many probably don't know what it is. It's not the insect. It's actually a game played with bats and balls. And they are, I was very surprised. There were, I think, 7 teams, and out of the 7, almost closer to about 5 of them, I think 5 or 4 of them traveled from Northern California to Southern California. And we had a lot of AUHSD students participate. And I was invited as a guest to give out the awards, and fortunately our Southern California team won. But afterwards I was cornered by some of our AUHSD parents who said, how come we're not introducing cricket at AUHSD? And I said, well, it's going to be a long shot, but it is something that we could discuss about, because it's going to be an Olympic sport, and I think the next Olympics. So,
Mr. Jabbar, when I was in high school, we didn't play soccer.
That's true.
So it takes a while.
It takes a while, exactly. It takes a while.
Right.
It
Can I
takes
ask
a while.
you a question about that? Are those, the people who were, the kids from Anaheim, were they on a team or were they on various teams?
I think they were spread across at least 2 teams.
Okay, so they were like club games?
Right,
teams?
it was a club
Okay,
teams,
club
yeah,
teams,
yeah.
okay.
So there were students from, I believe, Kennedy. There was a student from Cypress. And I think Dale Junior High, I can't, yeah. But there were, parents were very highly involved. They want to meet and they want to discuss about it. And I think at one point I did bring that up a long time ago, but it didn't work out because of liability and insurance issues. So we got to revisit that again so that we have our folks who are cricket enthusiasts to have something to do. So that's great. Other than that, unfortunately, I couldn't attend a lot of the back-to-school night because I had a death in the family, so I was the sole person who was taking care of the kids while my wife was out. So other than that, that's about it. And so
My stepson-in-law played cricket last Saturday.
did he? There you go.
Yes.
So there you go. I already got it.
Park.
I got my second vote.
Well, not only that, but, things change over the years. In other words, the sports that we play, like he said, he didn't play soccer in high school, and I played field hockey, and that is, boy, talk about some hurt
Don't have 'em,
shins, let me tell you. But, but that isn't played anymore either.
Yep.
And there are I can think of other ones that, we played, but things change, so we'll start introducing those because there's some other places down south that play highlight.
Yeah.
I know it's UCI, I think, has quite a bit, so
Well,
you never know. If we
never
get
know.
enough,
Absolutely.
So,
All right.
Mr. President, John Baptiste just quietly set these down. I just want to give a shout out to him because we all asked for this site administration and pictures of all of our new administrators and old administrators because there were so many. And so he just quietly slipped this to us, and this is awesome. So thank you, John. We really appreciate you.
John is the type of guy who
Where's mine?
who works in silence, but he gets it done. You ask and you shall receive. All right. Thank you. Thank you, John, for that. All right. We're going to go to advanced planning, future meeting dates. Our next meeting of Board of Trustees will.
John didn't give me one. Where's mine? Huh?
Uh-oh.
You didn't get one?
Hey, you're being prejudiced there. I want everybody to see that.
All right.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No worries. All right. Future meeting, next meeting of Board of Trustees will be held Thursday, October 13th, 2022 at 6 p.m. And suggested agenda items. Anybody have any agenda items for future?
No, I just have a question, though. In the emails we get every day about what's going on in the state and education, there was something about misinformation for teens. And I was wondering, in any of our classes in probably high school, do they teach students about how to ferret out fake news so that when they get these emails or stuff on social media to be able to determine if it is real or if it is fake? Do we have anything going on?
In the civic education training, there is, they do address that. Having the teachers present the difference between fake news and real news, and also looking at closely at citations. When they do their research, like on their soapbox speeches or something like that. So yes, there is that training going on.
And the soapbox speeches are done on the junior high level, right?
No, senior high too.
Senior high too? Well, but I really think that we need to look at that being done on the junior high level as well.
It's
because-
both. It's
Yeah.
both.
It's both because-
This is very important.
Yeah.
And I think, to answer your question, Mr. O'Neill, with all of our speech classes and even if you're writing, that's part of what they do is to kind of figure out how to do citations appropriately, right? And I know Omkar is shaking his head. I'm sure that they probably teach you on how to cite it not only appropriately, but vet it, right? To make sure that it's not a WW.
So in our English classes, they teach us like MLA citation and how to find like accurate sources from like acclaimed individuals. And I know in our currently in my Gov class, they're telling us all this information about like phishing and all these like fake news and how to like sort through that information to find accurate information. So especially in online classes, I know for sure that they have that, and they teach us MLA citation, APA citation, so different ways to ensure that the news that we have is accurate.
And what level class are you referring to? Is it an honors class, an AP class, or what?
They were AP classes.
So what about non-AP classes, that when we get down to just a regular student going through the education process and they're not in an honors class or they're not in an AP class, are they receiving the same type of education to be able to ferret out the junk that's out there? Question to the administrators. So,
And I
We
think
ask,
those are the
maybe
ones
Mike
that,
could
right.
give us a little bit of, on our Friday update.
Yes, we'll
Perfect.
get that for you,
Yeah,
Mr.
appreciate
Brown.
All right, anybody else?
No, but
All right.
I have something that I will in the future again bring up. But again, it has to be with climate change and what we are going to be doing as far as climate change. Because if anybody's reading the newspaper, it's talking about how things have gotten hotter and how we have to conserve and electricity and how much we're using and how we have to be flex alerts and
Are you
everything.
looking for agenda item or?
I will, but right now I'm just making a comment,
Oh.
because I didn't get a chance to make it before we got to that. But we're breaking records. If you read the newspaper, we have broken records from last year, from 5 years ago, it's getting hotter and hotter. And, we as a district need to make changes as well. We need to think about our calendar. We need to think about the fact that we're starting in the hottest time of the year. What's it going to be like next year? Okay, even if we started after Labor Day like we used to, we still would have gotten hit with a really big hot time. But we have had a whole month of hot time before we even got to that. We need to look at that and think twice about when we're starting school. We're Southern California, we're becoming even a hotter desert than we have been. And it's time to change things, I think. Okay.
All right.
Not going to stop.
That's Ms. Piercy's soapbox.
yes, and just one
Yes.
other news item, and if
Huh?
sort of helps you out too. And it was talking about today is the state boosts funding for school greening projects. So we need to be right on top of that and seeing what's out there coming.
Patty's.
I know, so I would just mention it was
Well,
just
looking
in
at
the, it
you,
was in the
Patty.
news today, so.
All right. Okay, since there's no other suggested agenda items, I will entertain a motion
So
to adjourn.
moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?